Hello, everybody. It's me, Shannon LaBrugiere. I am live and loving it tonight. Welcome to Sunday Night Live, where we explore the principles that equip us to thrive in change, the change that we didn't see coming, that knocks us off our feet, or the change that we've been dying for that we just started to implement and we hit some hiccups. Whatever side of that, whatever end of the spectrum your change is on, I want you to know that there are ways, consistent ways, principles that you can apply that will allow you to thrive in the midst of change, whether it's good or bad, whether you wanted it or didn't. So thank you. Thank you for leaning in to tonight's broadcast where we are going to be highlighting the glorious principle, hashtag find the beauty. We're going to be talking about find the beauty tonight. One of our Thrive principles, find the beauty, is that even when something awful is happening, there is always also something beautiful, the yin and the yang, the dark and the light. There's always something beautiful happening at the same time something awful is happening. And we can train ourselves to find the beauty, to look for that beauty. And tonight we're going to talk a little bit more about that. So let's see who jumped on. Carol, hi, I'm glad you're here. And rumor has it that tonight is one of those big games where people have a lot of snacks and there's really interesting commercials. So I'm curious to see how many people are able to join us live, or maybe they're trying to catch that big game. And I'm okay with that. I'm just glad that you are here. If you're here live, thank you for jumping on. Laura, hi. I'm glad you're here. So glad you're here. Want to also let you guys know that one of the best deals going is on the best coffee ever, and it is at thumbroastcoffee.com. You can get, and I recommend that you do, get your online order of delicious fresh roasted coffee from thumbroastcoffee.com for 15% off when you use the coupon code THRIVE, THRIVE, gets you 15% off of great coffee, and it will transform your mornings because I promise it has transformed mine. I am enjoying the Honduran kind, which who knew that I would enjoy that? And I'm enjoying it very much. So it turns out Santa Lake Sunrise, Blue Lake, and now Honduran. Actually, what I'm discovering is there is not a bad roast from Thumb Roast Coffee. So feel free to pick one, get 15% off. You won't be sorry. And Fran is here. Yeah, sports team, right? Oh my gosh. All right, so let's get started. And the title of tonight's session, if you will, tonight's broadcast is this: what I loved and what I learned. What I loved and what I learned. It also sort of applies to Valentine's Day, so feel free, in the spirit of love, to really lean into this idea of what I loved and what I learned. It is a simple, and I want to emphasize that simple is not always easy, but it can get easy. This is a simple way to face our mistakes. So, years ago, I probably 15 years ago, maybe 18 years ago, I don't know when, I decided that I wanted to learn how to play the keyboards. I wanted to learn how to play the piano. I was always inspired by piano players. And so I decided to initiate a change in my life. And up until that point, my involvement in music had involved playing the flute until I got out of high school. And then I didn't play it a whole lot more. But then singing, I sang often. I sang at church. I sang at school. I sang in community choirs. I sang a lot. I sang for weddings and funerals. I sang a lot. And I was comfortable, very comfortable with my singing. When I sang, I could just sink in. I didn't have to think about it. I could just do what I'd practiced and I could know that it would be good. Carol's rooting for the flutes. Yes. So I was a comfortable vocalist. I was a comfortable singer, but I had never played the keyboards and I wanted to be able to sing and play at the same time. That was it. That was my goal. I wanted to be able to sing and play at the same time, and I initiated a change. I decided that I was going to start learning to play an electronic keyboard. I used a computer program to do that, and it got me off to a start. And again, I wasn't trying to be classically trained. I just wanted to be able to play some chords while I sang so that I could express myself more fully. And I also thought it would be a very useful thing to do. My husband and I were youth ministers at the time. I thought it would be useful to be able to do that sometimes in some of our youth services and other things. So I started. And pretty soon, after about a year, I could play and sing at the same time. So yay me! Woohoo! It was great. But it was not very satisfying because I only played and sang for myself. Which was only part of the equation. I loved to sing for other people. I wanted to bless them with that talent. And so I was starting to feel uncomfortable, like, oh, you know what? I need to step up this change. I need to step up my change just a little. So I need to play in front of other people. I need to play so that I can add value to other people, so I can bless them, so they can enjoy it, so they can sing along with me, and we've got some music to fill in the gaps. So I did. I did it a couple times at church. I did it for our youth group. I started getting comfortable doing that in front of other people. And then I got a request, you guys. I got invited to play the piano and sing at a ladies' conference. And there were going to be hundreds of ladies there. And I knew exactly the song I wanted to play. I knew the song I wanted to sing. I knew it was going to add value to them and bless them. And I practiced, and I memorized that thing. I had it down, you guys. So the time came. They introduced me. I walk onto stage. There are hundreds of ladies there, all expectantly waiting. And I sat down and began to play the song. And I played the first 4 measures and totally forgot what to do next. I mean, poof, it was gone in front of hundreds of people. You guys, I was stretching, I was growing, I was changing and becoming more. And I got in front of hundreds of people and made an idiot out of myself, failed miserably, never could remember the next notes. So I had to look at the people who were accustomed to very high level musicians. They were very accustomed to high level musicians. And I had to say, well, I apologize. I have totally forgotten what I was going to play. I can't. So I guess if there's any lesson I want you to take away from this, I said to the audience, I want you to know that you can fail in front of hundreds of people and you'll live. And then I walked off the platform straight into the restroom and cried my eyes out. I was sobbing. I felt terrible. And I couldn't bear to think about it. So I want you to think about some of the things in your life that you messed up. They might have been big, and other people would have said, yep, that was a doozy. Maybe they were just big to you. Some of those things might be really long ago. I was going to say they might be really old, but that's not what I mean. Those things may have happened to you when you were in school, and you might have been out of school now for 40 years. Maybe it was something that you did that you were embarrassed in front of a person. Maybe you made a mistake and launched a business and it failed. Maybe you tried to take a class and you could never figure out the math and you failed. I want you to think about, you don't have to dig deep right now, but be prepared to dig deep. Think about the times you failed and the times you've made mistakes. Mistakes cost us a lot. They cost us our sense of self-pride and worth sometimes. They embarrass us. Sometimes we feel ashamed. because we failed. Failure is tough. Failure is no fun. But I want you to understand, first of all, this principle. Failure is essential. Everybody, from Mozart, the famous musician, the composer, from Mozart to the President of the United States to the Olympic skiers that are competing now on the Olympics. Every person who is great at something started out being bad. Now, in Mozart's case, he was bad for a very short time, but he started out being bad. And we have to be bad in order to get to good, right? We have to move through that bad. And then we're at good. And it turns out that we have to be good before we can be great. We don't just go from wishing that we could play the piano in front of people and add value to them by singing and playing, and then the next day magically show up and do that. There was a process that I had to follow, and I failed. Now, the good news is that I put that out of my mind and was able to move ahead. And I now play the piano in front of many people and I sing and add value to them. And I accomplished everything I wanted to. But I had to be bad and then I had to be good in order to be great. And by my standards, great does not mean that I'm the most accomplished musician. It means that I'm accomplishing what I set out to do, which is to move people's hearts. So we can define great, right? All right, so let's see what you guys are saying. Fran says this, it's almost guaranteed that I'm going to stick my foot in my mouth at some point weekly. Fran, you know yourself, right? She says the best lessons learned are in the failures, and she's got a big smiley. Amen to that. Fran, good for you that you have learned that you can pull a lesson out of the failures. I interviewed a person one time when I was working for the Postal Service. I was interviewing somebody, and I asked her how she dealt with criticism. And she looked at me and said, well, I don't like it, but I've learned to take the meat and leave the bones. What? I said, what was that? She goes, well, I don't like criticism. It doesn't feel good. I don't like to know I've made a mistake, but I have learned that I can take the meat from that mistake and I can be nourished. I can be better and I can leave what doesn't serve me, leave the bones. What a great philosophy. Take the meat, leave the bones. So this is the thing. Some of those failures and mistakes that we haven't looked at I just want you to know that it's a waste of a failure if you don't learn something from it, right, Fran? Fran says the best lessons learned are in the failures. Yes. Don't waste a perfectly good failure by trying to forget it and moving on too quickly. Now, I want to caution you. This is a 24-hour process. This isn't a 24-year process, okay? You don't have to go back 24 years and pull up those failures. But starting now, if you mess up, if you make a mistake, if you have a failure, try this. Try this simple little trick. Ask yourself 2 questions about it. Don't make yourself debrief the pain. Although there is value in that. I've been through some of those meetings. They were painful. When we messed up bad as a team, we had to go through and figure it out. Didn't feel good, but super valuable. If you're not quite ready for that, if you're not ready for the deep dive, just ask yourself 2 simple questions. What did I love about that? Find the beauty, right? The darker the night, the brighter the light. If there was something awful, there was also something wonderful. Had to be. Had to be. The darker the night, the brighter the light. There had to be something good there. Doesn't mean the experience was good. Doesn't mean what happened was good. Doesn't mean what the other person did was good. Doesn't mean that your decisions were good. What it does mean is whenever there's something bad, there is always something good. Yep. Whenever there's something bad, there's also something good. Ask yourself 2 questions about your mistake or about your failure. What did I love? And what did I learn? I will give you a simple example. I'm stretching myself again in an area that is not earth shattering. I am learning to embroidery. And I want to embroidery because I think it looks really cute on the front of little girls' dresses. And I have little girls that I like to sew for. They're my granddaughters. So I want to embroider something on the front of their dresses. And I've been trying. So my first try was a Christmas design. And it was when I was recovering from being sick. So I wasn't at my best, but I was couch bound. So it was nice. So I did this reindeer and I almost threw it away because when I almost quit, I should say, because when I was doing his nose, instead of being round, it sort of looks like a trapezoid, which just isn't right. The Rudolph's nose should not be a trapezoid. He doesn't have a trapezoid nose on any Christmas card I've ever seen. And for a hot minute, I was beating myself up over that. This is the first time I've embroidered since I was 10 years old. So we're talking 49 years. Been 49 years since I have embroidered. And I'm going to beat myself up because I'm not executing flawlessly. And so this is what I did. I took a look at it and thought, all right, it's not perfect, but I've got to be bad before I get good. So if I abandon this imperfect reindeer, I'm going to start a new one and I'm still not going to be good. And I'm going to have to get rid of that one too. So why not keep working on this one, work out my mistakes, and find something good about it? And that's what I ended up doing. I looked at it and thought, you know what worked about this? I really like those little flecks in his fur. I really like the way his ears turned out. What did I learn? I learned that the stitches were supposed to go outside of the outline stitches, not inside of the outline stitches. That's a good thing to know. Next time I do that particular stitch, that's what I'll do. I don't ever have to look at that again. I failed. It wasn't what I wanted it to be. I decided what I loved about it, which is reinforcing the good because we're learning something, right? Sometimes the only thing that we can say that was good about it was I learned never to do that again. You know what I loved about my epic failure in front of hundreds of people at a ladies' conference? You know what I learned? I learned that I will never go in front of a lot of people again without music in front of me. I am not going to rely on my memory. Ta-da! That is a valuable thing. And I've never made the same mistake again. And so I've had more confidence getting in front of people. That was a gift that experience gave me. And now I don't have to beat myself up about it anymore. That's what I learned. What did I love about it? I did love being in front of a lot of people. I enjoy people. I really loved knowing that the song that I was going to deliver to them was something that was heartfelt and I felt like it was appropriate and it was going to be moving and it was going to have meaning for them. I loved the preparation part. So there was a part that I loved, part that I learned, and I didn't have to look back on it and feel that hot burning shame and pretend it hadn't happened. What did I learn? What did I love? What did I learn? And now it's done. If you just do ask yourself those two questions when you make a mistake or when you fail, you at least will not have wasted it. There may be lots of other lessons there, and we can talk about those another time, but I'm just talking about the quick thing, the thing that's going to allow you to get past it 24 hours, and then you're done wallowing. What did I learn? What did I love? And I'm moving on. Apply it to the next thing, right? Oh, I love all these comments. Let's see. Marie says, happy birthday. Oh, yes. Marie, thank you. I am celebrating a birthday today, and my husband and I spent some time together celebrating our anniversary as well. So it's been good. Very nice. Thank you. Carol says, parenting keeps us humble. Oh, yes. When I think about my parenting mistakes, I get so embarrassed. And my kids love to bring them up. And I just tell them, don't bring it up. I don't want to. I'm really sorry that happened. And they're like, Mom, it was funny. It didn't feel funny to me. What did I learn? What did I love? Leave it. So parenting keeps us humble, Carol says, and will always keep me working to be better and learn. Yes. And as parents, if we can accept the fact that we're going to make mistakes, because We all start out as parents having never done it before. And remember what I said about we always have to start with being bad and then we can be good and then we can be great? Yeah. The key is to keep that bad section as short as possible. And learning from our failures allows us to do that, right, Fran? If we fail and get that lesson out, it allows us to get through the bad much quicker. Sylvia, hi, and I'm glad you're here. Ooh, Marie says she can't hear me. Can you guys hear me? Sometimes there's a little bit of a gap. Ooh, yeah, Marie can't hear. So Marie, it looks like everybody else can hear. I'm sorry. I'm not sure what's going on with that, but I think we're good. I'm going to carry on okay. Yep. Carol can hear. So Marie, that might be you. So maybe try getting out and getting back on, or seeing if the earphones are in, or I don't know what, but I hope you can get back so you can hear us. Fran says, I was trying to learn to cook early in my marriage. I loved taking care of my husband. I learned that you can't put frozen French fries in hot oil without flames. Yep. That's a hard one. What did you love, Fran? What did you love about that? Now I can make poutine dishes. Good for you. See, you learned, you grew, you took that lesson and applied it and moved on. You didn't abandon French fries forever. I've abandoned some things forever, I thought. I thought I had abandoned them forever. And yet I picked them back up when I realized that failure is a part of the learning and growing process. And these two simple questions: what did I love and what did I learn? Speaking of that embroidery, I worked on my second project, which was better than the first. Was not perfect, but it was easier. And I was delighted with it. I was delighted with how it turned out. It turned out really cute. And so I made a dress to go along with it. It's beautiful little flowers. It's adorable, except for it's not. And so when I got the dress all assembled, I realized I don't love it. It's like I don't like this dress. And I was a bit embarrassed by it a little bit. It didn't look like I thought it was going to look. And so I hid it for a while. I didn't want to look at it. I'd put a lot of work and time into it. There was some money invested. I had bought fabric. It was a complete dress, and it wasn't working. It just wasn't great. It wasn't great. It was good, you guys. It was good. But I've been sewing since I was 8. So 51 years. I'm 59 today. So I've been sewing for 51 years. I better be great at sewing. That's just the bottom line. If I'm not great at sewing, maybe, well, I don't have to find a different hobby, but I'm great at sewing because I've done it so long and I've worked at improving. And so to make something that doesn't look great is really disappointing, and it's really hard for me. And I was embarrassed at myself. I didn't even want to look at it. So I decided, because I'm trying to walk my talk, you guys, I want to be the person that I encourage all of you to be. And so I knew that if I were to post that in Facebook in the group where people make dresses like this, it's a group of people who buy the same kind of patterns for dresses. And then when you make something out of those patterns, you post it. And I hadn't posted it. And I thought, you know what? If I post this, people are going to learn something. And that's important. So I took this dress, took a picture of it, looking not great, and I posted it in that group. And I said, what I loved was that the flowers matched the skirt so beautifully. I chose those colors well, and that was so fun to do. I loved that. What I learned, and I learned a lot, you guys, and I listed it out. It felt so good. It felt so good. And then guess what I've done with that dress? I gave it as a gift to somebody who thought it was beautiful. Here, you can have this. It doesn't fit my granddaughter. She cried when I tried to put it on her. Here, take this. I moved it out. They do not see the flaws. People do not see all of your flaws that you see. What did you learn? What did you love? And then pass it on. Pass on the imperfect piece of artwork and let somebody enjoy it. Give it to the Goodwill and let somebody laugh at it. but don't waste a perfectly good opportunity to learn something and to grow from the failure or mistake. So, what are you guys thinking as we're wrapping up here? I'm not sure when halftime is, but maybe you guys can get back and watch halftime. Um, what are you thinking? Is this something that would work for you? Just to take a look at that thing that's sometimes hard and we want to hide it or not think about it or we are embarrassed. And if we just ask ourselves the two questions, what did I love about that? So I can keep doing it. And what did I learn so that I'll do better next time? How can that help you in some areas of your life? Do you think that could work? Is it something you could do? Let me know. Drop it in the comments. Have you done that? Francine, I love you sharing your experience with the flaming French fries, sort of like at a Greek restaurant when they light the cheese on fire, but this was French fries. I don't know. Opa! Um, maybe not. It sounds kind of scary, actually, but I'm glad you didn't give up. And poutine, is it poutine or poutine? Which is hard for you to say there in a comment, but I'm not sure if it's poutine or poutine, but I believe gravy is involved on those French fries, and that sounds pretty delicious. So somebody's benefiting. Carol loves Opa. Yes. The flaming cheese, the flaming French fries. It's all good if you intended for it to flame. My Aussie husband loves his chips. Well, that's awesome, Fran. And it's awesome that you love him enough to keep trying so that they're delicious. You didn't give up just because you failed once. I like it. He was, oh, Fran, now she's confessing. You avoided making them for 5 years. I'm wondering how long has the longest have I gone before I was able to face a failure? I'm trying to think of one. I've got a couple, but the ones that are sticking out, they're long stories that are too involved to just jot them in or drop them in. But let me see. One time I led a band, like I was a band director as a volunteer, and that was a total bust. And so I didn't even want to play my flute with other bands for like it was 2 years before I picked it up again. I was so embarrassed. So what a waste of that, right? They aren't thinking about it. Nobody at that event thought twice about it. They laughed their heads off at the mistake that happened, and it was big. Um, seems like I like to do big mistakes in front of lots of people. Yeah, but so I did. And there's a musical connection too there, huh? Maybe I've got a little bit of a soft spot there where I'm a little bit not as confident, huh? My failure became a real fear, so it was nice to get over it. Ooh, Fran, this is a good point, and thanks for throwing that out there. That our failures really can become a fear. We're afraid of it happening again, starting something on fire. In Fran's case, embarrassing myself in front of people. In my case, just being ashamed at my lack of skill, just when I'm the only one looking at it, sometimes being too hard on myself. But those things can all become fears. And this quick way to look at that mistake and neutralize it by saying, nope, there's something I loved in there. There was something I loved. I'm taking it. I'm taking the meat. And there was something I learned. I'm taking that meat too, and I'm leaving all the rest behind. It neutralizes that experience. Finding the beauty neutralizes the pain of it in many ways because we're not just amplifying the bad. We're not just amplifying the bad. When I talk about that find the beauty principle, a lot of times I use the example of we think that good is the polar opposite of bad. And so if something's good, I'm looking at it over here and the bad's on this side. But if something's bad, I'm totally riveted on the bad. And that's what happens sometimes when we make a mistake or we have a failure. We look at it as a bad thing and we start thinking, oh my gosh, that was embarrassing. That was awful. That cost a lot of money. That, created chaos in the company. We could have a long list, right, of what was bad. And as long as we think that bad and good are polar opposites, when we're looking at the bad, we'll never see the good. It's way over here. And I'm not saying that we should just focus on the good and not pretend that things went wrong. because there's something we need to do differently next time. If I didn't understand that things went wrong, I was going to repeat the same mistake next time I was asked to perform in front of a group. I was going to try to memorize it. But I learned. I didn't pretend nothing bad happened. I didn't pretend it was awesome. This is what I did. I brought those two things together. The good and the bad exist right alongside of each other, sometimes entwined with each other. And we can see the good and the bad at the same time. And we can harvest the good and leave the bad. Harvest the good, leave the bad. Take the meat, leave the bones. Asking ourselves those two questions, what did I love, reminds us that there is beauty in the midst of that. It doesn't allow our unconscious to just keep saying it was 100% terrible. It doesn't allow our subconscious to exaggerate the bad at the detriment of what was good. When we intentionally ask ourselves, what did I love about that experience? What worked? What was good? And then acknowledging, what did I learn? And leave the rest behind and move on. We have done a powerful thing inside of us that allows us to transform that experience into something that can actually be powerful and helpful. All right, you guys, this has been fun. Thank you so much for sharing. And I'm looking forward to hearing how you apply these kinds of principles. Thank you for your great comments. And I also wanted to thank you. When you share Sunday Night Live, you are doing something very generous, because the principles we talk about, I'm convinced, help people. They help people to grow in the midst of change. And when you share these principles by sharing Sunday Night Live, you are helping somebody. When you share specifically to someone that you know and say, hey, I think you would enjoy this, it's even more powerful, because you're telling them, I see you. I see what you struggle with. I see what you're going through, and I know you could use some help. I want to support you. And you're giving them something good. So when you share this, you're not just helping Sunday Night Live, which you are, and you're helping me because I love an audience. I want more people to hear what we have to say. You're also helping those people that you share with. So thank you for that. Carol says, my mom used to say, when you fail, try again. Yes, try again. Learn from what went wrong. I love what my mentor, John Maxwell, says. He says, you know what? Some people, fall down, and then when they get up, they hit their head and they fall down, and then they get up and hit their head and fall down and hit their head. No, that's just being dumb. When we fail and hit our head, taking a moment to reflect and saying, okay, what worked and what didn't, and then trying transforms everything. Francis, I've been using the things I've learned. My friends think I've become wiser overnight. So thank you. Yay! You are welcome. And thank you, Laura, for the birthday wishes. Thank you guys for sharing my birthday. Thank you for sharing in my passion to grow and be better. And Fran, I am delighted that your friends think you're awesome and wiser. I know they think you're awesome, but now they think you're wise too. So that's great. Okay. God bless you all. Take care. Mwah. I love you. Have a good night. Bye.